The alarm screamed in my ears before I could even open my eyes. Red light flooded the cryo chamber. My lungs burned as the cold gel drained from my body, and my heart pounded so hard I thought it might break my ribs. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The wake-up cycle was supposed to be slow, gentle, careful. This was none of those things. I dragged myself out of the pod and crashed onto the metal floor. My knees hit hard, but I barely felt the pain. My name is Captain Owen Hart, and the last thing I remembered was setting a 6-month course toward the Veil Nebula. Now my ship's main computer was screaming at me like the world was ending. "Vesta, report," I shouted, pulling myself up against the wall. The voice that answered was calm, but I had known Vesta long enough to hear the tension underneath. "Captain Hart, we have a serious problem. Time displacement detected. You have been in cryosleep for 317 years. I froze. My hand stopped halfway to the medical kit on the wall. 300 years. The words did not feel real. They could not be real. "Say that again." 317 years, 4 months, and 11 days, sir. The temporal anomaly near the nebula caused our jump drive to fold incorrectly. We have been adrift in deep space, hidden in a stable pocket of folded time. My mouth went dry. I tried to speak, but no words came out. I had a wife back home, a daughter, a whole life. All of it gone now, turned to dust hundreds of years ago. I leaned against the wall and tried to breathe. But the alarm was still screaming. Whatever was happening, it was not over. "Vesta, why are the alarms going off?" "We have just exited the temporal pocket, Captain. Long-range sensors are picking up active battle signatures less than 200,000 kilometers from our position. There are also unknown energy weapons being fired. I am trying to identify the species involved." I forced my legs to move. The corridor outside was dark, lit only by the red emergency lights. I had to get to the bridge. I had to see this with my own eyes. My boots made heavy sounds on the metal floor as I ran. Every breath hurt. My muscles felt weak from centuries of sleep, but my mind was sharp now. The training kicked in. The captain in me took over. I burst onto the bridge and dropped into my chair. The main view screen came alive with stars I did not recognize. The constellations were wrong. Time had moved them, just as time had moved everything else. "Show me the battle, Vesta." The screen shifted. I saw a small ship, maybe a transport, being chased by 3 larger ones. The transport was firing back, but its shots looked weak. The hunters were closing in fast. They fired some kind of green energy beam that ripped through the transport's shields like paper. What am I looking at? The transport vessel appears to belong to a peaceful trading species I am still trying to identify. The 3 attackers match no known Earth records. However, I have intercepted their communications. They are speaking in a trade language I am decoding now. A voice came through the speakers, harsh and clicking. Then Vesta translated. "Surrender your cargo and your crew. You will be sold. Resistance means death." My hands closed into fists. 300 years. I had lost everything. My family, my world, my whole life. And the first thing I saw in this new galaxy was someone weak being attacked by someone strong. I did not know who these people were. I did not know the rules of this new universe. But some things never change. Vesta, status of the Prometheus 9. All systems operational, Captain. Hellfire plasma cannons online. Shields at full power. The phase drive is charged and ready. Our nano-armor is intact. I leaned forward in my chair. My voice came out low and steady. Then let us remind whoever is out there what a Terran warship can do. Captain, I should warn you. After 3 centuries, our technology may be outdated. We could be outgunned. I almost laughed. Vesta, run a comparison scan on those 3 attacker ships. Tell me their weapons grade, shield strength, and engine output. There was a pause. Then Vesta spoke again, and I swear there was something like surprise in her voice. "Captain, this is strange. Their weapons are weaker than ours. Their shields are weaker. Their engines are slower. By every measure, we are far more advanced. I stared at the screen. That made no sense. 300 years should have left us behind, not ahead. But I did not have time to think about it now. The transport ship was about to be destroyed. The little ship's shields were almost gone. Take us in, Vesta, full speed. Phase drive to short jump. The Prometheus 9 roared to life beneath me. I felt the deep hum through my chair as the engines pushed us forward. 12 kilometers of Terran steel, the most powerful battleship Earth had ever built. A ghost from the past, waking up in a galaxy that had forgotten her. We jumped through space in a blink. One moment we were far away. The next, we were right on top of the 3 attackers. I imagined the look on their faces when a massive warship suddenly appeared from nowhere. Lock weapons on the lead attacker. Warning shot first. A single bolt of plasma fire lanced out from the front of my ship. It cut across the bow of the lead hunter ship, missing it by less than 100 meters. The message was clear. Stop or be destroyed. The 3 ships scattered. Their formation broke apart. They had no idea what we were. They were running now, their engines pushing as hard as they could. A signal came through the speakers. The translator caught it quickly. Unknown vessel, identify yourself. Identify yourself or face the wrath of the Korthan Dominion. I smiled for the first time in what felt like 1,000 years. This is Captain Owen Hart of the Terran battleship Prometheus 9. Stand down and leave this region, or I will not give another warning. There was silence. Then the voice came back, full of anger and fear. Terran, that is impossible. The Terrans are dead. They have been dead for centuries. I leaned forward in my chair. My voice was cold as the empty space outside. Then I guess the dead have come back. I gave the order. Plasma cannons fired in a clean, focused beam. The lead Korthan ship split open, its hull breaking apart in slow motion. The other 2 ships turned and ran for deep space. Their engines pushed past safe limits. I let them go. I wanted them to tell the story. I wanted every corner of this new galaxy to know what had returned. The transport ship floated in front of us, broken and bleeding atmosphere from a dozen holes. I called out to them. After a long pause, a small, scared voice answered. The face on my screen was not human. The creature looked a bit like a frog, with wide, gentle eyes and damp green skin. You saved us. Why? We have nothing to give you. I shook my head slowly. I did not save you for payment. What is your name? I am called Thela. I speak for my people. Please, kind stranger, who are you? Where do you come from? I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes for a moment. My family was gone. My world was gone. Earth was a memory hundreds of years old, but I was still here. My ship was still here. And somewhere in this strange new galaxy, there were people who needed protection. My name is Owen Hart. I am the last captain of a fallen world, and I think I just woke up at the right time. Thela's eyes filled with tears. A Terran, a real Terran. I thought you were only stories. I opened my eyes again and looked at the broken stars in the screen. Tell me everything, Thela. Tell me what happened to my people. Tell me what this galaxy has become. She nodded, her small body trembling. And as my ship pulled her broken transport into the docking bay, I knew my old life was over. A new one was beginning. The galaxy did not know it yet, but it was about to learn that some old ghosts do not stay dead forever. Thela walked onto my bridge an hour later. She moved slowly because she was wounded, with a bandage wrapped around her left arm. Her people were small, only chest high to me, but I could see the strength in her eyes. She had survived something terrible, and she was still standing. Captain Hart, she said softly, I have so many questions, and I think you have many for me. I nodded and offered her a chair. She sat down and folded her hands in her lap. Her green skin looked dull from the stress of the attack, but her gaze was steady. Tell me about my people, I said. What happened to Earth? She looked down at her hands. 200 years ago, the Vorth hegemony attacked your home world. They were the strongest empire in this part of the galaxy back then. They wanted to take Earth's resources. They wanted to make humans into slaves. My stomach tightened, but I kept my face calm. Go on. Your people fought back. They fought harder than anyone expected. The war lasted for 10 long years. The Vorth lost thousands of ships. They lost millions of soldiers, but in the end they had more numbers, more fleets. They broke through Earth's defenses and they did terrible things, Captain. I am sorry. I closed my eyes. I had known this was coming, but hearing it still hurt. And the Vorth, where are they now? For the first time, Thela smiled a small, sad smile. Gone. Your people hurt them so badly that their empire could not hold together. Within 50 years of Earth's fall, the Vorth hegemony broke apart. Other empires moved in and finished them off. Today, no one remembers the Vorth, but everyone still tells stories about the brave humans who almost defeated them. I opened my eyes. There was a strange feeling in my chest. Sadness, yes, but also pride. My people had not gone quietly. They had made the galaxy remember. Thela, who rules this galaxy now. She took a deep breath. 3 big powers control most of this region. The Korthan Dominion, who you just defeated, the Jul Concordat, and the Iron Choir. They are all cruel. They take small worlds like mine. They take our food, our young, our homes. We have no one to protect us. I stood up and walked to the main window. The stars looked back at me, cold and silent. My world was gone. My family was gone. But the galaxy was still full of people who needed help. People who had been waiting a long time for someone to stand up for them. Thela, I said quietly, without turning around, how would your people feel if I started helping them? If I started fighting back against these empires? There was a long silence behind me. When I turned around, I saw tears on Thela's green cheeks. Captain, she said in a shaking voice, we would call you a miracle. I walked back to my chair and sat down. The lights of my bridge glowed warm around me. Vesta stayed quiet, listening, learning. My ship was old by my count, but new by this galaxy's count. I had weapons no one had seen in centuries. I had armor that could shrug off their best shots. I had a phase drive that let me appear and disappear like a ghost. I was one man on one ship, but that one ship was the most powerful thing this galaxy had seen in 300 years. Vesta, I said. Yes, Captain. Set a new course. Let us go see the rest of this galaxy, and let us see what trouble we can find. The engines hummed deep in the belly of the Prometheus 9. Thela watched me with wide, hopeful eyes, and for the first time since I woke up, I felt something other than loss. I felt purpose. The stars stretched out before us as we jumped to faster than light speed. A new chapter was beginning. The galaxy did not know it yet, but the last Terran captain was awake. His ship was loaded, and he was coming for those who had grown too comfortable being cruel. This was only the beginning. The bridge was quiet in the hours after Thela went to rest. I sat alone in my chair, staring at maps Vesta pulled up on the main screen. The galaxy looked different from what I remembered. New borders, new names. Stars I once knew now belonged to powers I had never heard of. I had to learn fast. A man flying blind through enemy space does not last long, no matter how good his ship is. Vesta, show me the closest Korthan outpost. A red dot appeared on the screen. It was 3 jumps away, sitting on a small trade route between 2 mining worlds. The data feed showed it was a medium station, big enough to hold maybe 1,000 soldiers and a few patrol ships. Not a fortress, but not a soft target either. Captain, I should mention that the Korthans will already be sending word about you. Within days, every empire in this region will know that a Terran ship is active again. I rubbed my chin. My beard had grown out during cryo-sleep, longer than I usually kept it. Good. Let them talk. Let them whisper my name in their dark rooms. Fear travels faster than truth. I looked over at the tactical screen. My ship had taken no damage in the fight against the 3 Korthan hunters. My shields had not even dropped. My weapons had not even warmed up. The Prometheus 9 was a sleeping giant that had just stretched her arms. But I was not foolish. One ship cannot fight an empire. I needed allies. I needed information. And I needed to be smart about every move I made. Vesta, plot a course to a neutral world. Somewhere I can learn more without being seen. A new dot appeared. A small planet called Dreven's Reach, a free port world that took no side in the Empire Wars. Smugglers, traders, and travelers from every species passed through it. The perfect place to listen. Set the course. Cloak the ship before we get close. I want us to be a ghost when we arrive. The ship's engines hummed and we were off, pushing through faster than light space. I checked on Thela, who was sleeping in one of the empty crew quarters. Her small frog-like form looked peaceful curled up under a blanket. She had been through so much, but she was safe now. I closed her door gently and went to the kitchen to find food. The food packs were 300 years old, but the storage system had kept them perfect. I ate a meal of dried bread and protein paste. It tasted like cardboard, but it was better than nothing. As I ate, Vesta played me audio files of the local trade language so I could start learning words and phrases. I had a fast mind for languages. By the time we reached Dreven's Reach, I could already understand simple sentences. The Freeport world appeared on my screen as we dropped out of FTL behind a moon. It was a busy place. Ships of every shape and size moved in and out of orbit, some shaped like long needles, others like big round balls, others like spiders with 6 legs. I had never seen such a strange mix of design. Cloak working perfectly, Vesta said. We are invisible to all known scan types here. Good, I am going down to the surface. Thela, are you awake? She came onto the bridge a moment later, her green skin looking healthier after sleep. Yes, Captain, I am ready. You will come with me. You speak the trade language better than I do, and no one will look twice at a Sylvani trader, but I need a disguise, something that hides my face. Thela smiled a small smile. I have an idea. Many travelers wear hooded robes here. There are people of many shapes. A tall stranger in a robe will not draw eyes. We took a small shuttle down to the surface. I wore a long brown hood that covered most of my face. My boots were heavy and my breath was loud inside the cloth, but I felt the buzz of a new world all around me. Dreven's Reach was a wild place. The streets were narrow and crowded with creatures I had no names for. Strange smells filled the air. Music played from open shops. Voices shouted in dozens of languages. I had never felt so alive and so out of place. Thela led me through the crowd. She knew the way. We walked into a small drinking house where travelers gathered to share news. I sat at a corner table and ordered something Thela said was safe to drink. Then we listened. The talk in the room was loud. Most of it was about a ghost ship. They say it appeared from nowhere, one large blue creature said to its friend. 12 kilometers long, it cut 3 Korthan hunters apart in seconds. That is just a rumor, its friend said. There has not been a ship that big in centuries. My cousin saw the survivor reports. They say the captain claimed to be a Terran, a real Terran. The whole table went quiet for a moment. Then someone at another table laughed. Terrans? The Terrans have been gone for 200 years. Whoever these people are, they are using the old name to scare people. It is working, another voice said softly. The Korthans are pulling ships back from the border. They are scared. I sipped my drink and kept my face hidden. So the news was already spreading. Good. Fear made enemies cautious. Fear bought me time. But I also heard other things. A merchant complained about taxes from the Iron Choir. A Sylvani trader spoke quietly about how his sister had been taken by Zhul slavers. An old creature in the corner muttered that the empires had grown too fat, too lazy, too cruel. I heard pain in every voice. I heard people who had been waiting a long time for hope. After 2 hours of listening, I leaned over to Thela. I have heard enough. Let us go. We made our way back to the shuttle. As we were leaving the drinking house, a tall figure stepped in front of me. He wore a long black coat. His face was sharp and pale, with eyes the color of dark honey. He looked human almost, but something about him was off. His ears were too pointed. His fingers were too long. "You are a stranger here," he said quietly. "I do not forget faces, and I have never seen yours." I kept my voice flat. "I am a trader. Just passing through." Traders do not walk like soldiers, and traders do not have hands as scarred as yours. He smiled, but his eyes did not. "Who are you, friend?" Thela tensed up beside me. I felt my hand drift toward the small pulse pistol hidden under my robe. But the tall stranger held up his hands, palms open. "Easy, friend, I am not your enemy. My name is Caleb Brooks, and I think we should talk." The name hit me like cold water. Caleb Brooks. That was a human name, an Earth name. My old friend had a cousin named Caleb, but this man could not be human, could he? I studied him carefully. His skin was pale but not exactly like mine. His eyes had a small glow that no human eye ever had. But his bones, his face, the way he stood, there was something about him. "What are you?" I asked quietly. He smiled, and this time his smile reached his eyes. "I was hoping you could tell me. I do not know what I am exactly, but I am told my great-great-great-grandmother came from a place called Earth, a small blue world. They say she escaped before the Vorth came. She was the only one of her kind on this side of the galaxy. She had children with one of my people, and her line continued. So you see, I have a little Terran blood in me, just a little, but enough to recognize one when I see one." My heart pounded. So humans had not all died. A few had escaped. Their blood had spread, mixed with other species, but it was still there. Somewhere out there in this huge galaxy, pieces of my people were still alive. "Why are you telling me this, Caleb Brooks?" He looked around carefully. The street was busy, but no one was paying us much attention. He leaned close. "Because I have been waiting for you my whole life. There are others like me, Captain, half-bloods, quarter-bloods, children of children of children of Earth. We have heard whispers about a Terran ship returning. We are scattered across many worlds. We are not soldiers, we are not warriors, but we are waiting for someone to lead us home." I stared at him. My throat felt tight. The galaxy had been cruel to my people, but it had not been able to wipe them out completely. The Terran name was buried but not dead, like seeds under cold ground waiting for spring. "How many?" I asked. "In this region, maybe 10,000, across the wider galaxy, hundreds of thousands, maybe more. We do not know each other well. We hide our blood. Many empires would not be kind to us if they knew." I made a quick decision. "Caleb, come with me. I have a ship, I have questions, and I think you have answers." He nodded slowly. "I was hoping you would say that." We walked back to the shuttle quickly, all three of us now. The streets felt different. Every corner could hide a spy. Every shadow could be an enemy. But I kept my pace steady and my face calm. When we lifted off, Caleb looked out the window with wide eyes. He had never been in a shuttle this advanced. When we docked with the Prometheus 9, he stood frozen in the docking bay, staring at the long curved walls of my ship. "By every star," he whispered, "I have never seen anything like this. The size of her, the shape. She looks like she could swallow a Corthan dreadnought." I almost smiled. "She is bigger than most dreadnoughts in this region, yes. She is also faster, better armored, and much better armed. The galaxy has not seen Terran technology in 300 years. She is what we built right before the fall." Caleb walked slowly through the corridors, touching the walls with shaking hands. "And you are alone, on a ship this size." "Just me and Vesta, my AI, until Thela came aboard, and now you." He stopped walking and looked at me with a serious face. "Captain Hart, I want to help. I cannot fly a ship like this. I do not have your training, but I know this region. I know where the slave routes are. I know which empires hate each other. I can be useful." I held out my hand to him. He looked at it confused. "It is an old Earth gesture," I said. "It means we are going to work together." He took my hand carefully and shook it. His grip was strong, stronger than I expected. Maybe his Terran blood was stronger than he knew. "Welcome aboard, Caleb Brooks. We have a lot of work to do." As I stood on the bridge that night looking out at the strange stars, I thought about how much had changed in just a few days. I had woken up alone, the last man of a dead world. Now I had a ship, an AI, a Sylvani ambassador, and a half-blood cousin from a family I never knew existed. I was not alone anymore. And somewhere out there, the Korthans were planning their revenge. The Zhul were watching. The Iron Choir was listening. 3 big empires were going to come for me. They would send their best ships and their best soldiers. They would try to crush me before my legend grew too big. Let them come. The Prometheus 9 was ready. Her captain was ready. And the long sleep of humanity was finally ending. I gave Vesta a new order. Plot a course toward the closest slave route. Caleb says the Korthans run regular shipments through there. I want to break every chain we find. Yes, Captain, course laid in. The engines hummed beneath my feet. The stars stretched and shifted as we pushed into FTL. I sat down in my chair, took a deep breath, and watched my new family settle around me. The hunt was on. The next 2 weeks moved fast. We hit the Korthan slave route on the first night and freed 3 transport ships full of Sylvani and Drathan workers. None of those ships even got off a clean shot at us before our plasma cannons cut their engines and forced them to surrender. I made the slavers walk to escape pods at gunpoint, then sent them home with a message. Tell your masters that the Terran ghost is back. Tell them that no one is safe. The slaves we freed were thin and tired. Some of them had been taken from their home worlds when they were children. They cried when they saw us. They cried more when they realized we were not tricking them. I gave them food and clean clothes. Caleb spoke with them, calmed them, and helped them figure out where they wanted to go. Most of them asked to be taken home. A few asked to stay. They wanted to fight. I had a problem. My ship was made for a crew of 400. I had been running her with just Vesta, then with Thila's help, then with Caleb. But 3 people were not enough to handle every system. I needed more help. Captain, Caleb said one morning as we sat on the bridge eating breakfast, I think it is time we recruited. From the freed slaves. Some, yes. The ones who want to fight, but also from my people, the half-bloods. There are many of us scattered across this region. If word spreads that a Terran ship is taking on crew, you will have hundreds of volunteers within weeks. I thought about it. The risk was real. Some of those volunteers could be spies. Some could be foolish. But I also could not keep going alone. The empires would not stay surprised forever. Soon they would send fleets, not single ships. I needed a real crew. Spread the word carefully, I said. Quiet messages only. No public calls. Tell your contacts that the Prometheus 9 is taking on hands. Send them to a meeting point we can defend. We will check each one before bringing them aboard. Caleb nodded and started sending messages through hidden channels he knew. Thila helped him. Within a few days, we had our first volunteers. A young half-blood woman named Hannah Cole, who had been a pilot on freight ships. An older man named Ethan Wright, who had served as an engineer for one of the smaller empires. A Sylvani technician named Rilo, who had escaped the Korthan mines years ago. A pair of Drathan twins, Karn and Volo, who were strong fighters and quick learners. I trained them hard, every day, all day. Vesta taught them to use the Terran systems. I taught them how to think like a fleet, even though we were just one ship. We ran drills until they could move through the corridors with their eyes closed. We practiced damage control until the work became muscle memory. By the end of the second week, we had 30 crew members. By the end of the third, we had 80. The Prometheus 9 was waking up properly now. Lights came on in sections that had been dark for centuries. Engineering bays hummed with activity. The medical bay was staffed by 2 half-blood doctors and a Sylvani healer. The mess hall was full of voices and laughter at meal times. My ship was no longer a ghost. She was a home. But we did not stop hitting the empires. Every week, we struck another target, a Jol mining station here, a Corthan supply depot there, an Iron Choir slaver fleet caught in deep space. We never lost a fight. The empires sent bigger ships, but my technology was so far ahead of theirs that even their newest dreadnoughts could not match my old battleship. One night, as I sat in my office reviewing reports, Vesta spoke softly. "Captain, I have something you need to see." A holographic image appeared on my desk. It showed 3 large fleets gathering in deep space, far from any inhabited world. I counted the ships: 80 Corthan warships, 60 Jol battleships, 40 Iron Choir cruisers, 180 ships in total. "They are joining together," Vesta said. "For the first time in over 100 years, the 3 big empires are forming an alliance. The target is us, Captain." I sat back in my chair and let out a long breath. So it had come to this. The empires had finally realized that I was a bigger threat than each other. They were putting aside their old hatreds to wipe me out together. I called all my senior crew to the bridge. Caleb, Thela, Hannah, Ethan, Rilo, Karn, and Volo. They gathered around the main map and looked at the gathering fleet. "They want a final battle," I said. "They think they can crush us with numbers." Hannah crossed her arms. "Can they?" I looked at the map. 180 enemy ships. Even with my advanced technology, that was a lot to fight at once. My phase drive could let me appear and disappear, yes. My armor was strong. My weapons were deadly. But every ship has limits. Every captain has limits. If they hit me from all sides at the same time, even I would fall. "Not in a straight fight, no," I admitted. "Not against numbers like that." Caleb tapped the map. "Then we do not fight a straight fight, we fight a smart one." "What do you have in mind?" He looked around at the gathered crew. "Captain, in the last few weeks you have freed thousands of slaves. You have hit the empires hard. Word is spreading like wildfire. The smaller species, the oppressed worlds, the half-bloods, all of them are starting to whisper your name. They believe in you. Many of them want to fight. They have no warships. Some do, hidden ones. The Sylvani have shipyards their masters do not know about. The Ori have been building cruisers in deep asteroid fields for 30 years. The Drathan have a hidden fleet of fast strike ships. The Half-Bloods have skills and small ships scattered across hundreds of worlds. None of these forces are strong enough to fight an empire alone, but together, with us leading them, they could be. I stared at him. The idea was huge, crazy, impossible. But it was also the only way. Thela stepped forward. "Captain, my people would fight beside you. I can speak to the Elder Council. I can send the call." "My contacts among the Ori will listen if you ask," Caleb added. "They have lost so many to the Iron Choir. They are ready." The Drathan twins both nodded. "Our people will come," Karn said in his deep voice. "We have waited for a leader for too long." I looked at all of them, my crew, my new family. They were ready to risk everything on a wild plan. "Send the calls," I said. "We will gather every ally we can find. We will pick the battlefield. And when the empires come for us, we will give them a fight they will tell stories about for 1,000 years." We went to work that night. Thela sent encrypted messages to the Sylvani Council. Caleb reached out to the Ori through old contacts. Karn and Volo spoke with their Drathan leaders. Within 3 days we had answers. The Sylvani would send 40 ships. The Ori would send 60. The Drathan would send 50. Smaller species offered ships in groups of 5 and 10. Half-blood pilots flew in from every direction with their own personal craft. By the end of the second week we had a fleet. 220 ships, smaller and weaker than the Empire fleet but united, hopeful, ready. I called them the Free Stars Coalition. It was a simple name, but it would mean something soon. We chose our battlefield carefully. A dead star system with a thick asteroid field far from any populated world. The asteroids would help us hide and move. The dead star's gravity would mess with Empire sensors. It was the best ground I could pick. We waited for the Empires to come. We did not have to wait long. The combined enemy fleet appeared in the system on a Tuesday morning. I remember the day because Hannah had baked some kind of cake for the crew. The mood was tense but not afraid. We had all made our peace with what was coming. I stood on the bridge, looking at the massive enemy formation on the screen. 180 ships in a perfect attack pattern. They were confident. They thought they had us trapped. I opened a channel to my coalition fleet. My voice carried to every ship. This is Captain Owen Hart. Today we fight not for revenge, not for hatred. We fight because we have all suffered enough. We fight because every species deserves the chance to live free. The empires think we are weak. They think we are scattered. They think they can crush us. They are wrong. Today we show them that the small can stand together against the great. Today we show them that the age of empires is ending. Hold the line. Trust your captain. Trust each other. And remember who you are fighting for. I cut the channel. My crew looked at me with steady eyes. All ships attack pattern beta, I said quietly. Let us begin. The Prometheus 9 moved forward, leading the coalition fleet. Behind us came the Sylvani cruisers, the Ori battleships, the Drathan strike fighters, and dozens of smaller craft. 220 against 180. Smaller numbers but bigger heart. Older technology with newer hope. The empires fired first. A wall of green and red beams cut through space toward our formation. I had been waiting for this. I gave a single order. Phase drive now. The Prometheus 9 vanished. We jumped right into the heart of the Empire fleet, appearing inside their formation before their guns could track us. My Hellfire cannons opened up at point-blank range. 2 Korthan dreadnoughts split open in a single second. I phased again, appeared behind a Zhul battle group. Cannons fired. 3 more ships fell. Behind me, the coalition fleet swarmed forward. The Drathan strike fighters were fast and small. They dove into the Empire ships, hitting weak points and pulling away before they could be hit. The Ori cruisers fired long-range beam weapons that punched through shields. The Sylvani ships used speed and quick movement to avoid the heavy enemy guns. The battle became a wild dance. I phased in and out, hitting hard and disappearing before the empires could lock on. My crew worked at full speed. Hannah called out targets from her sensor station. Ethan pushed the engines past safe limits. Rilo and the medical team handled the few wounds we took. Karn and Volo led boarding parties when we got close to crippled enemy ships. Thela coordinated with the coalition fleet over open channels. Hours passed. We were hurt. My shields were down to 30%. 2 of my Hellfire cannons were burned out. Half my coalition ships were either destroyed or limping. But the empires were hurting worse. They had lost over 100 ships. Their formation was broken. Their commanders were sending angry, scared messages back and forth. But they still had numbers, and they were closing in on us from all sides. This was the moment. I could feel it. The fight was on the edge. We could win or we could lose depending on what happened in the next few minutes. That was when I made my last big move. I phased the Prometheus 9 right into the middle of the enemy command group. 5 flagships, all in one place. I hit them with everything I had left. The plasma fire was so bright, my screens went dark for a moment. When they came back, 4 of the 5 flagships were gone. The 5th one was running. The Empire fleet broke. Without their commanders, they had no plan. They scattered in every direction, each captain trying to save their own ship. The coalition picked them off as they ran. I sat in my chair, breathing hard. The battle was over. We had won. Cheers came over every channel. Coalition pilots shouted with joy. My crew hugged each other on the bridge. Thela cried openly, and Caleb laughed for the first time in days. But I did not cheer. I sat quiet, watching the wreckage of the enemy fleet drift through space. Hundreds of ships gone, thousands of soldiers gone. I had not started this fight. The empires had brought it to me. but I had ended it and the cost was real. "Captain," Vesta said softly, "Coalition reports coming in. We have one, sir. The three big empires have lost their main fleets. They cannot threaten this region anymore." I nodded slowly. "Open a channel to all Empire commands. I want to make a speech." Vesta opened the channel. I stood up from my chair and walked to the front of the bridge. My voice was calm but heavy with the weight of what I had just done. "This is Captain Owen Hart of the Terran battleship Prometheus 9. To the Corthan Dominion, to the Jol Concordat, to the Iron Choir. Your fleets are broken, your power is finished. The age of empire rule in this region is over. From this day, every species under your control is free. Every world you took will be returned. Every slave you hold will be released. If you try to rebuild your old ways, I will find you and I will end it again. The galaxy belongs to those who choose to build, not those who choose to break. This is your only warning." I cut the channel, the bridge was silent. Then Hannah started clapping, then Ethan, then everyone. My crew filled the bridge with the sound of their joy. I let myself smile just a little. We had done it. The Free Stars Coalition had won the biggest battle in this part of the galaxy in centuries. The empires were broken. A new age was beginning. But my work was not done yet, far from it. In the days after the battle, our coalition swept through the captured space. We freed slaves. We took over Empire bases. We sent the Empire soldiers home with no weapons and a clear message. Do not come back. The galaxy is changing. The empires did not fall apart all at once. The Corthan Dominion split into 3 weak parts that started fighting each other. The Jol Concordat begged for peace and offered to pay back every species they had hurt. The Iron Choir's leader was overthrown by his own people, who were tired of his cruel ways. Each empire fell in its own way, and none of them were the same again. While this was happening, Caleb came to me with an idea. "Captain, the Half-Bloods, the thousands of us scattered across this galaxy, many of us want to gather, many of us want to find each other. We have been alone too long. Could you help us?" I had been thinking about this myself. The freed slaves needed homes. The Half-Bloods needed a place to come together. The Sylvani had offered to help, and so had the Ori. There was talk of building something new, a safe place, a new home for those who had been broken by the empires. "What do you have in mind?" I asked. Caleb pulled up a star map. He pointed to a green and blue world in a quiet star system far from the old empire borders. "The Sylvani found this planet years ago. It is beautiful, perfect weather, clean water. They never settled it because they wanted to keep it pure. They have offered it as a gift, to us, to the Half-Bloods, to anyone who lost their home." I stared at the planet. It looked so much like Earth. Maybe a little smaller, maybe a little greener, but the colors were the same. "What would you call it?" I asked quietly. Caleb smiled. "The Sylvani are calling it New Terra." My throat got tight. New Terra. A new home for what was left of my people. A new beginning for the Half-Bloods. A safe world for the freed slaves. A symbol that humans, even mixed and scattered, could come back from the edge of nothing. "Yes," I said. "Yes, let us build it." We started right away. The Sylvani brought their best builders. The Ori brought their finest engineers. The Drathan brought their strongest workers. The freed slaves brought their willing hands. The Half-Bloods came in waves, traveling from every corner of the galaxy. By the end of the first month, the first town was rising. By the end of the third, the first city. Caleb became the leader of New Terra. He had the heart for it, and the people loved him. He was patient. He was wise. He listened more than he spoke. He was, in many ways, what a leader should be. Hannah Cole became the head of the new Terran defense fleet. Yes, we built a fleet. We needed one. The galaxy was still dangerous, even with the empires broken. New worlds always face new threats. Hannah was a good pilot and a better leader. The fleet grew under her hand into something strong. Ethan Wright became the chief engineer of the planet's growing technology systems. He kept the lights on, the water flowing and the ships moving. He was happy in his work. He had finally found a place where his skills mattered. Thela went home to her people, but she came back often. She became the first ambassador between New Terra and the free Sylvani worlds. The bond between our peoples grew strong. Sylvani and humans, side by side, building something new. The Drathan twins, Karn and Volo, took on the job of training the new Terran ground troops. They were tough teachers but fair. The young soldiers loved them. Rilo, the Sylvani technician, decided to stay on the Prometheus 9 with me. He liked the ship. He liked the work. He became my new chief of systems, keeping Vesta happy and the ship in top shape. As for me, I kept flying. I could not settle down, not yet. The galaxy was healing, but it was not safe. New threats were already showing themselves. Old empires were being replaced by smaller troublemakers. I needed to be out there, watching, ready, on guard. I became the Watchman. That was what people started calling me, the Watchman. Children on 100 worlds learned the name. Mothers pointed at the sky when a streak of light passed overhead and said, "That is Captain Hart. He is watching. Be safe. Be brave. He is keeping us safe." Years passed. New Terra grew. The first generation of children born there ran in the green fields and laughed under the warm sun. Half-blood, full blood, mixed blood, it did not matter. They were all just children. They were all just home. I visited often. Caleb would meet me at the landing pad, his hair turning gray now, but his smile still warm. We would walk through the city and he would tell me about the new buildings, the new schools, the new families. I watched it all grow. I felt proud in a way I had not felt in a very long time. But the galaxy never sleeps. 5 years after the Great Battle, a new threat appeared at the edge of our space. An old empire from far across the galaxy heard about the rich new worlds in this region. They sent a fleet to take a look. I met them at the border, just me and the Prometheus 9 plus a small group of new Terran ships under Hannah's command. We did not even have to fire a shot. The old empire saw my ship, scanned its weapons, and turned around. The legend of the Watchman had reached them. They wanted no part of it. That was how most of my work went after the Great Battle. Just being there was usually enough. The Prometheus 9 had become a legend, a ghost story for those who would do harm. As long as she flew, the galaxy stayed mostly peaceful in this region. 10 years after the Great Battle, Thela passed away. Her people lived shorter lives than humans and her time came too soon. I went to her world and stood by her family as they laid her to rest. I cried that day. I had not cried in a long time. She had been my first friend in this new galaxy. Her kindness had reminded me that hope was real. 20 years after the Great Battle, Caleb came to me with gray hair and tired eyes. He was getting old. He had served as the leader of New Terra for 2 decades. The world was strong now, stable, ready to choose new leaders. He wanted to step down. "You should be the next leader," he said to me one quiet evening. I shook my head. "No, Caleb, I'm not the man for that work. I never was. My place is up there, not down here." He nodded slowly. He had known I would say that. Then who? I had thought about this. Hannah Cole. She has the trust of the people. She has the strength to lead. She knows the danger out there, but she also believes in peace. She is the right one. Caleb smiled. "I agree." Hannah was elected without much fight. She became the second leader of New Terra. She was different from Caleb, harder on the outside but just as caring on the inside. The people loved her. She led well. 30 years after the Great Battle, Ethan Wright passed away. He died in his sleep, peaceful, surrounded by his family. He had lived a good life. New Terra named the main engineering school after him. Generations of young engineers would learn under his name. 40 years after the Great Battle, I was getting older too. Terran longevity treatments kept me strong, but they could not stop time forever. My beard had turned gray. The lines on my face had grown deeper, but I still flew. I still watched. The Prometheus 9 was still my home. One day Hannah called me down to the surface. She was much older now, walking with a cane. She wanted to show me something. She took me to a hill outside the main city. On the hill stood a tall stone monument. It was new. The carving on it was simple, a picture of a long ship with the words below it. To Captain Owen Hart, the last man of old Earth, the first hope of new Earth, watcher of the stars, friend of the free, may his ship fly forever. I stared at the stone for a long time. I did not know what to say. Hannah put her hand on my shoulder. We wanted to make this while you were still alive to see it. Too many heroes get monuments after they are gone. We thought you should know what you mean to us, to all of us. I tried to speak, but my voice was not working right. I just nodded. We sat on a bench near the monument and watched the sun set over the city. New Terra was beautiful in the evening light. Tall towers, green parks, busy streets, children playing in a fountain, a young couple walking hand in hand, an old half-blood man teaching his grandson to fly a small kite. Life. Real, full, busy life. Was it worth it? Hannah asked quietly. I thought about the question. I thought about my old life on Earth, my wife, my daughter, the home I had lost. I thought about the long sleep, the cold wake up, the loneliness of the first days. I thought about all the battles I had fought, all the dangers I had faced, all the friends I had buried. And I thought about everything I saw in front of me now. A whole world of people who would not exist without my work. A galaxy that was free because I had refused to give up. Yes, I said, it was worth it. Hannah smiled. We sat together until the stars came out. 50 years after the great battle, Caleb passed away. He went peacefully in his bed with his children and grandchildren around him. I was there too. I held his hand at the end. He looked at me with those clear, kind eyes one last time. Owen, he whispered, thank you for everything. Thank you, my friend, I said back. He closed his eyes and was gone. I went back to the Prometheus 9 that night. I sat alone on the bridge for a long time looking at the stars. Vesta did not bother me. She knew I needed quiet. After a long while I spoke softly. Vesta, am I the last one now? Of the original group, yes, Captain, you are the last. I nodded. The thought did not hurt as much as I expected. They had all lived good lives. They had all built something real. They had all left the galaxy better than they found it. There was no shame in being last when those before you had finished their work well. 60 years after the great battle, I was old, truly old. The treatments could not hide it anymore. My hair was white. My hands shook a little, but my mind was still sharp and my will was still strong. I called New Terra one evening. Hannah's daughter, who had become the new leader, answered my call. Her name was Grace. She was a strong young woman, smart and kind with her mother's eyes. Captain Hart, she said warmly, it is good to see you. Are you coming down for the festival next week? I do not think so, Grace. I am tired. I want to make one last trip. She looked at me carefully. Where to, Captain? I smiled. To Earth, to my old home. I want to see what is left of it. Captain, that journey is long, and there is nothing there, just a dead world. I know, but I want to see it before I go to my own rest. She nodded slowly. Her eyes were wet. Then go, Captain, with our blessing. May the stars watch over you. I cut the channel. I gave Vesta the order. The Prometheus 9 turned and pointed her bow toward the place where Earth had been. We jumped to FTL. The journey took weeks. We passed through quiet space, through old empire borders that had become free trade routes. We saw busy worlds and peaceful ports. We saw a galaxy that had healed mostly in the years since the empires had fallen. When we got to Earth's old star system, we slowed down. Vesta scanned the area carefully. The sun was still there, old but burning. The other planets were still in their orbits, but where Earth should have been, there was just a thick cloud of debris. The Vorth had not just defeated my world. They had broken it apart. Earth was gone in the literal sense. There was no surface to walk on, no oceans, No mountains, just rocks floating in space. I sat and looked at the debris field for a long time. I had known this was coming, but seeing it was different. My world, my home, reduced to nothing but pieces. But then I noticed something. Vesta picked it up before I did. Captain, there is a small object in the debris field. It is sending a weak signal, a very old signal. What kind of signal? A Terran beacon, Captain, from a small craft. I am moving us closer. We moved into the debris field carefully. Vesta guided the Prometheus 9 through the floating rocks until we found it. A tiny ship, no bigger than a shuttle. It was dead and cold, but it was Terran. Its design was from my time, maybe a little after. Vesta, can you read its records? There was a pause. Yes, Captain. The ship's logs show it was an evacuation craft. It was launched in the final hours of the war. It carried 2 passengers, a young woman and a baby. My heart stopped. Where did it go? The records show the ship was hit by a Vorth weapon shortly after launch. The engines failed. It has been drifting here for over 2 centuries. The cryo system was damaged. The passengers died long ago, Captain. I am sorry. I sat in silence. So one last attempt had been made. One last family had tried to escape. They had not made it. They had died in this cold piece of metal, lost in space, just outside their dying world. Vesta, who were they? The records list the woman as Sergeant Anna Hart. The baby was her son, listed only as Hart Jr. I could not breathe. Hart, my family name. My niece had been pregnant when I left Earth on my long mission. She was supposed to give birth a few months after I went asleep. I had not thought about her in so long. I had assumed she had died with everyone else. But here she was, frozen in time, carrying her son, trying to escape, trying to live. I went to the small ship myself. I put on a suit and walked through its broken halls. I found the cryo chamber. 2 pods side by side, frost on the windows. I wiped the frost away gently. It was her, my niece, older than the last time I had seen her, but still her, and in the pod beside her a small bundle, my great-nephew, frozen forever just out of his mother's arms. I stood there for a long time. Then I reached out and touched the glass of her pod. My voice was rough. Hello, Anna. I am sorry I was not here for you. I am sorry it took me so long to come back, but I am here now, and you are not alone anymore. I brought them home. I brought their ship aboard the Prometheus 9 and I took them to New Terra. There on the hill where my own monument stood, we buried them under a stone of their own, with honors, with love, with all the family that had been waiting for them. After that, I had nothing left to do. My work was done. My family was found. My world was at peace. I called Grace one last time. Captain, she said, smiling, how was the trip? Good, I said. I found something I had been missing. I am ready now. Ready for what, Captain? I smiled at her. For rest, Grace, for the long rest I have earned. Her eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. She knew. She had always known this day would come. Where will you go, Captain? Out there, I said, looking up at the stars. I am going to take the Prometheus 9 on her last flight. I am going to fly her to a quiet place between the stars, and I am going to sleep, forever this time, with my ship around me, the way it should be. Grace was crying openly now. Captain, you do not have to. You can stay with us. You can have a home here. My home is my ship, Grace. It always has been, and it is time. She bowed her head. May the stars watch over you, Captain Owen Hart, and thank you for everything from all of us. Thank you, Grace. Take care of your people. You are doing well. I cut the channel for the last time. I gave Vesta the final orders. We left New Terra and we flew out into deep space, past the busy lanes, past the borders, out into the quiet places where no one ever went. We found a small dead star, lonely and silent. I parked the Prometheus 9 in its slow orbit. I stood on the bridge and looked out at the empty space around us. So quiet, so peaceful, so perfect. Vesta, I said softly, thank you for everything for all these years. You have been the best friend a captain could ask for. Thank you, Captain. It has been my honor. After I am gone, keep the ship safe. Let her drift here. If anyone finds her, let them learn from her. But do not let her be used for harm. Promise me. I promise, Captain. I walked to my old cryopod. I had not used it since the day I woke up. I climbed inside and I lay down. The lid closed slowly above me. The cold gel filled the pod. My breathing slowed. My eyes grew heavy. In my last waking moments I saw faces, my wife from Earth, my daughter, my niece Anna, my friend Thela, Caleb, Ethan, Hannah, so many faces, so many lives, so much love. I smiled. The dark closed in, and the last Terran captain went to his rest, peaceful at last, surrounded by his ship, surrounded by his stars, surrounded by the quiet of a galaxy he had helped save. Far away on New Terra, the people lit candles that night. They had gotten the word. Their watchmen had gone to sleep. Children asked their parents if Captain Hart would ever come back. The parents smiled and pointed up at the night sky. He is up there now, child. He is always up there, watching, waiting. As long as the stars shine, the captain watches over us. And in the deep dark between the stars, the Prometheus 9 drifted in silent orbit. Her lights were dim now, her engines were quiet, but her shape was still strong, still proud, still ready. A ghost ship from a forgotten age, a monument to the most overpowered human the galaxy had ever known. The Terran battleship no empire ever dared challenge again. The end.